So let's talk about Twitter's verification process, which is something I really enjoy doing because it demonstrates a great deal of hypocrisy on the part of not only Twitter, but the people who seek to be verified more than anything else. So as you can see in the Help Center, Twitter's saying on their Managing Your Account article, in the Verified Accounts section, the blue verified badge lets people know that an account of public interest is authentic. That's it, in theory. But Twitter has shown how this is a badge of status before. For example, in 2016, when they unverified Milo Yiannopoulos for being a bad boy on Twitter. This was a very interesting moment because it demonstrated that it really wasn't about whether the account was one of public interest. If you did something that pissed off the authorities at Twitter but wasn't a bannable offense, you could be kicked out of the club. What's really interesting is that there's a feature for verified users that isn't available to the average rank and file, and that's a notifications column where they only tell you about notifications from other verified users. So it basically gives you a way of getting rid of the hoi polloi. This is naturally going to create a certain class of people on Twitter. Most celebrities, most verified people who don't want to hear from the quote-unquote trolls don't have to. They can just hear from the other verified people that they follow, and who follow them and who want to tag them, etc, etc. When you separate out a small group of children from a larger group and give them something that the other kids don't have, those kids are going to think that they're better than the other kids. They're going to see it as a privilege, because that's what it was. And that's how Twitter's treating it, despite the rhetoric to the contrary. If you think the Twitter verifying badge was anything other than a status symbol, you've been completely misled. This is a club, and if you're not in it, you're certainly out of it. It's always strange to find accounts that have hundreds of thousands of followers, which would appear to be accounts of the public interest, that aren't verified. So Twitter have reviewed their policies on who they think should get a verified tick, and suddenly accounts that are of the public interest are no longer verified. They no longer receive the extra privilege. They are no longer part of the club. By de-verifying Richard Spencer and Tommy Robinson, they have demonstrated that this is now a closed network. And Twitter, of course, must know this. I mean, they must know that a name like Richard Spencer is probably quite common across the English-speaking world, and without verifying the actual Richard Spencer, you may find that there are now random people who happen to share a name with him who will be receiving lots and lots of abuse online that was actually meant to be sent to the actual Richard Spencer, the account of public interest, who should be verified because, let's be honest, he is internationally famous at this point. The same goes for Tommy Robinson. It's a completely regular name. If you don't verify who Tommy Robinson is, other accounts will probably start receiving abuse that was meant for Tommy Robinson. I mean, you guys realize that Tommy Robinson is a published author, don't you? He's on TV all the time. The fact that he can tweet something that you think de-verifies his status as a public figure is mind-boggling to me. It seems to me to be an attempt to unperson these people from your club. The real people on Twitter all have blue badges. People like Tommy Robinson don't really exist. And the thing with someone like Richard Spencer, he wouldn't be famous if it wasn't for the far left and their eternal search for a Nazi. Because ultimately, there is no way to stop Twitter abuse while a verified badge is a mark of privilege, because there will always be a kind of class resentment from those without privilege against those that do. And given a platform, say, I don't know, like a digital agora, where people can go down and speak their minds, some people have larger soapboxes than others, you're going to find hecklers in those crowds who really want to speak their mind directly to the person's face. And you're giving the trolls the ability to do this from behind the veil of anonymity, which is why it's happening. What you need to do, just so you know, Jack, and I'm not saying this for me because I don't want to go back to your platform, what I would recommend to solve your problems, because I'm such a good guy and I like solving people's problems, is that you verify everyone. You get their ID, you find out who they are, you get their address, you get all of the personal details you need to satisfy that you can identify that person from a legal standpoint, and then you allow people to use your platform, because that way you can, when someone actually threatens someone else, you can track them, Jack. You know who they are. You guys have verified that person. So that means any abuse will be really easy to stop, and it will create a chilling effect where people who aren't really particularly enthusiastic about abusing other people, but they might get angry one night and go, you know what, fuck you, whatever, they're going to be less inclined to do that, because they're going to think, well, hang on, if I send a threat, if I call someone a nasty slur, I could, in Britain, you can end up in jail. But the thing is, Jack, you'd have to think that we're idiots for us to think that you don't already know this. So it's really amusing to me watch you try and scramble to maintain your privilege as your platform tanks and becomes ever more toxic and unappealing to people. It just blows my mind that you're willing to go down with the ship as long as you and your friends get to wear your little blue armbands.